because it is dirty under here. Whew, all right. How big of a thingy do I need? Good question. Some grooves on it. It's textured for pleasure. Everything's coming out. All right, well, we're under the car. Everything has been taken out except for the transmission right now. So that's what's next. I'm gonna try to get this out. One bolt has already been taken out, so my job's one bolt easier, but we've got the jack here supporting the weight of the transmission. I'm gonna get the bolts out, and then hopefully everything just comes apart nice and easy. That's the hope. So let's get cracking on this and see if we can make some serious headway. And maybe we'll get to cleaning today. That'd be really cool, because it is dirty under here. Whew, all right. How big of a thingy do I need? Good question. All right, well, now that the transmission's out and everything else has been removed, I've got a much better view of what's going on underneath the Miata, and it's a lot of rust. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the rear subframe. The front one is probably gonna have to stay in there for now because it's supporting the engine, and I really don't wanna take the whole engine bay apart at the moment. So we're gonna start in the back, we're gonna take off the rear subframe, and after that we really should be able to start chipping away at some of this rust. and hopefully get it cleaned up enough that we can get it painted and protected from future rusting. So let's get to it. Quick status update from future Zak. We are 2/3 of the way through the projects. We got the transmission out and the rear subframe. What's next is all of the auxiliary components that are still attached to the car. So we're going to take a look at getting the parking brake out, as well as the clutch and flywheel off of the back of the engine. After that, I'll give a quick recap of all the stuff that's come off of Mama Miata so far. So stay tuned for that, just to see exactly how far we've come. But not to get a little ahead of ourselves, there's still so much left to do. We still have to get the engine out. We have to completely strip down the engine bay. The dash is going to come out so we can get the wiring harnesses pulled out of the engine bay as well. And the fuel tank needs to get dropped so that when we're welding everything together on the rear quarter panels, we don't have to worry about miscellaneous sparks or combustion happening or too much heat going into an area that's right next to the fuel tank. So we've got a lot left in this journey, but don't worry about it. We're going to take it one step at a time. So let's go ahead and wrap up today's projects. All right, so I've taken the transmission out. I got the clutch taken off as well as the flywheel, and I spent a little bit of time underneath thinking about what I'm going to do next. And I think I'm going to go further than I was planning. Originally, I was thinking brakes, I was thinking suspension, taking care of all of that along with the transmission, the differential, basic components in the drivetrain and for handling and performance, just to make sure that they're good to go and I don't have to worry about them again. Well, getting under there, seeing just how dirty and greasy it is, and knowing that in the future I'm going to pull the engine because I want to turbo. I want to do work in the engine bay. I want to clean it up. I want to make it look pretty too. And I really don't want to have to go through this again, let alone doing it in a year or two when I have the money to do that. So I think instead of forcing myself to do all of this before the nice weather is over and missing out on the season, instead of worrying about any of that, I'm just gonna take it all apart. So I got all the underside taken care of. The next time that we come out here, I'll be taking a look at the engine bay. So we'll take all the intakes out, we'll get the coolant flushed, we'll basically just try to clean everything out of there except for the engine so that I can get a hoist in here and pull the engine out and just get to work on the engine bay. But yeah, we'll take a quick recap of everything that's been pulled out, everything we're going to try to salvage and save, and everything that we're going to replace. So let's go check it out. Here we've got the old brakes. I'm going to get the Flying Miata little big brake kit upgrade. I just want all the stopping power, plus it's nice having some nice clean painted calipers. And we'll get rotors, we'll get new pads, we'll get the whole 9 yards. Same thing with the parking brake. That's actually behind me. The exhaust, well, it's not terrible, but the whole thing is rusted out, and I really don't want to have to try to put this thing back on only to be taking it off again. So I mentioned I want a turbo. I might be getting a 2.5 or 3 inch pipe so that when I do turbo, it's ready to go. But I don't know. I might end up getting the 2.25 inch because that's what's recommended for NA, naturally aspirated. Yeah, we'll see. Worst case scenario, it's $750 for temporary exhaust that I can resell. And then when I turbo, I'll go ahead and get the bigger one. But again, that's all future decisions. Same thing here with the differential and the PPF, so both of these. And it's actually, the PPF, in case you didn't know, is called the Power Plant Frame. So it literally does stand for something, and that's it. And I can't get it apart because this it's a nut, and it's got some grooves on it. It's textured for pleasure. And when I try to undo it, it just spins. And I forgot my PB blaster at home, so I'm going to try to fit this in my car to bring this back home, get this taken apart. I kind of want to take it apart to see just how damaged it is. If you remember way back when we changed the fluid the first time, there were metal flakes. We saw plenty of glitter in both the trans and the diff. So if they're scrap anyways, I'd like to just take them apart and see what we can figure out. But then moving on, same thing, drive shaft, that just didn't want to come apart. It's been rusted on. The transmission, again, I've got a new one. It's back there. How exciting. So transmission's out, and the last thing is this subframe. Now, everything over there is getting replaced with something new or something better, and this, I think, we can salvage. So it's just covered in rust, but the subframe itself is still pretty sturdy. Gotta check some of the welds, make sure that nothing's falling apart on those. But yeah, we should be good. And like I said, some of these brake lines are just falling apart. You know, it's 30 years old. They're not exactly in great condition, and needless to say, they're all rusted. So even if I did take them apart, just trying to clean them up is just probably not going to be worth it. So I'm probably going to be ordering some tubing, and I'm going to learn how to run my own brake lines, because I think it'll be cheaper than buying a complete set. But then again, I might get the full set for running along the body. That way I don't have to shape all that, and then I can just learn how to shape a few of these. But that's kind of where we're at. And if we come back over here, you'll see underneath it is all cleared out. It's all removed. It's got plenty of rust, plenty of undercoating from the factory, Now all of that is going to come out, and I'm going to repaint the bottom with some real thick, heavy-duty stuff. So hopefully we can prevent future rust, but that's really where we're at. And like I said before, engine bay is going to be the next objective. Depending on who I can get to help, I may just start cleaning out the entire underside and the back end, and then at some point get to the engine bay, but literally I think everything is going to come out. We'll take the radiator out, AC system's coming off so that I can revamp that and hopefully have some AC. Intakes will be coming out, washer fluid, everything's coming out. And anything that can be cleaned up will get cleaned. Anything that needs to be replaced will get replaced. This is turning into a very expensive project. But that's really it. That's it for today. I gotta get cleaned up and head home. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode, and we'll make even more progress. And hopefully you're enjoying this journey with me, and hopefully you're able to stay a little bit cleaner than I am. But that's all I've got for now. I'll see you in the next one.